It would seem as though.
Hi.
Good morning. Good cold fall morning. Oh, right.
Spooky.
I don't have that sound effect. I only have this one.
Right.
Which is kind of how I start every morning.
Oh,
I
girl.
wake up, I just start screaming.
I know when you're awake because my lights flicker, the windows shake.
Well, yeah, of course. Welcome to another week of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
I'm Vesta.
I'm Annika. Oh.
And it is officially fall here because we've got the rains have
Yeah.
moved in. It's getting chilly.
I want you to know how my mental health feels so much better. Like, the moment it was overcast, the moment it was, like, wet outside, I was like, oh, yep, this is what it feels like to be happy.
Oh, happiness.
Yeah, it's so weird. It is
Do
so
I
weird.
hear happiness?
I know, right? Sorry, Mrs. Hannigan. But yeah, so, you know.
I do know.
I love it. I'm ready for it. I've been watching spooky things and slasher things and
But I'm going to tell you, I wasn't ready for this weekend.
this
last weekend?
Yeah, well,
It was hot.
It was hot, and you did a lot.
I did a lot. Well, Friday,
I didn't.
as you know, was my mother and your grandmother's birthday.
Yeah.
84 years old.
Uh-huh.
And
she acts like she's roughly 2.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And so we did that, you know, we had cake and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
The next night, though, the whole family went, me and the kids and the mother and the husband went all to a show for Coronation.
Right.
It's called the Out of Town Show. So, as it kind of indicates, folks from out of town,
Right. Weird.
who are here to celebrate Coronation,
Okay.
perform. It's usually, and it's like emperors and empresses. So
Sure.
royalty. It's not just like Bob off the streets.
I know.
Whatever.
Hey, this is Sue Ann from Eugene. Like, okay, Sue Ann, get the fuck off my stage. Like, I don't know. Like, not
Right.
just randos.
So it was fun. It was a
Yeah.
good show. You know, we had a good time. But then that meant I got home late past my bedtime.
Yeah, I get
But
it.
you know me, I'm in bed early.
Girl, same.
Well, and then the next night was Coronation.
Right. Which goes on until about midnight.
It goes on for 3-4 days. It's
Yeah,
very
honestly.
long. It's very boring. Well, I'm just going to say I'm not used to going to Coronation and being hot.
Oh.
It was 80 degrees
Yeah, that's
when I was trying to get ready.
Yeah.
And I always give myself about 2 hours.
Yeah.
2 to 2.5 hours to get ready.
Yeah.
So I sit down and I start my makeup and I, take my time.
Yeah.
And fortunately, unlike most drag queens, I don't have to do half the shit they do. I don't have to shave my face.
No.
I don't have to put on padding.
I was like, bitch, you're not padding.
No, none of that.
No.
I'm just painting my mug and putting on hair and getting
Yeah.
dressed. Well, unlike the last time I did a show, my face just went on perfectly, jiffy quick. It was all, oh, look,
Oh my god,
I'm ready.
Stunning. Yeah.
So I had an hour and a half
Yeah.
left.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, piece of cake. All I have to do now. And I had, again, unlike normal, I had everything planned what I was going to wear.
Okay.
I had my hair done.
Yeah.
I was all good. So I go get dressed. And my brand new dress that I've literally worn one time is ripped.
Oh, honey.
And I'm all, oh, shit. Is it noticeable? Well, it's has like an empire waist, and it's on the waistband.
Okay.
So you can see it. And it's very obvious. And I was like, well, obviously I'm not wearing that because I don't have time to fix it. So I take that off. Well, that kind of threw things for a loop because I was like, now what? So I was like, do I just wear the dress that I'm wearing for crowning? I mean, that's not done.
You change outfits at Coronation?
Yeah, for crowning. Because usually we're expected to wear something
Specific
for crowning.
I'm dead.
I know.
Girl, I am fucking dead. You charge people $800 to go to this thing and then expect them to put on a show and change? There's a costume change? No, I couldn't. I would
well, and if you're stepping down as Emperor Empress, you change at least 4 times.
Listen, that's to be expected, right? If you're stepping down or you are being, nominated, elected, what is it called?
If you're running.
Right, if you're becoming the new, whatever it is. Sure, you change, you do the twirls, you jump through the hoops. get it. But everyone else who's just been passed, that's stupid. Who's been a past emperor?
Well, that's just it. I don't know that anybody actually is like, you can't wear the dress you're going to wear for crowning all night long.
Okay, right.
I think it's just how we are.
I just didn't know you guys changed.
I think it could just be a Portland thing.
Yeah.
It could be an old queen thing.
Right. I love it,
You know, the way I was brought up in the system, you do not show up in the dress you're going to perform in.
Okay.
And you don't wear the same thing all night long.
Okay. Interesting.
Unless, of course, you're just a member of the audience and never going on stage.
Sure.
Then you can, whatever.
It's just like very bougie. It's very Hollywood to me.
Is it?
Like, well, kind of. Like, I'm hosting the Oscars, and every time I come out, I'm going to wear a new dress. You know what I mean? Or I'm doing some, like, giant Hollywood event. Like, that's what it makes me think of. Having different outfits for, you know, because you're being shown again.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting. I don't think it's bad. I just think it's kind of cute. And so much fucking work.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Well, and so I'm like, well, I have a closet. I now have a closet full of dresses because I did my one woman show and got a whole bunch. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wear my dress with the face. And
Yeah,
it's
I love
comfortable.
it. I love that dress.
Super comfortable. I sit down in it.
I know.
It doesn't look good sitting down.
Okay.
Because I put it on, I sit in front of the mirror because I'm putting my hair on. It doesn't look right sitting down.
Yeah.
And it's too high necked. And I'm like, no. And so I take that. And so, of course, it's 80 degrees. The more I'm taking clothes off, I start sweating.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it.
I hate it here.
I try on 5 different dresses.
Okay.
And finally, I'm going to put on my old faithful dress that I love, that I wear all the time. It's like, it's comfortable. It fits well. Shows off the girls nicely.
Yeah.
I'll just put that on. But my hair wasn't right.
Oh my god.
Nothing was going right.
Why did you even go?
Trust.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah. Husband, you go because you're getting paid for this.
Right,
event.
he was getting paid.
Yeah.
In fact, he'd already got paid the night before. I was like,
So,
stay home.
Yeah,
What are you
bitch.
gonna do?
Woo!
They already paid me. So, that hour and a half that I had at a time, I used up almost every minute of it to finish getting ready. I was like, I tried on every wig I have.
Oh my god.
Because the one I had styled for it didn't look right. It looked like a mass bubble on my head. I'm like, what is this? This is garbage.
What is happening right now?
What is happening? So, but then, yes, coronation. We got there at 5.
Yeah.
And the doors are at 5. So I get there and I'm all, okay, here. Why is the door not open? He goes, oh, well, they're still setting stuff up. And I was like, okay, I need to go sit down.
Yeah.
Well, the doors aren't good. We're going to open about 5-10 minutes. No. I said, no, I don't know that maybe I wasn't clear. I need to sit down. So I don't care that they're still setting the lights or setting the tables or whatever the fuck they're doing. I'm going to go sit down.
Yeah. And they're not going to, they're going to care that I'm here? No.
Yeah, no. So he's like, oh, okay.
I love that. You're like, you didn't understand.
No, I didn't ask if I could sit down. I'm telling you.
Yeah. This is what I'm going to go do.
Right. And I'm not in very many situations, Queen Bossy Boots, but in this situation, I'm all, bitch need to sit down.
Yeah. And also, everyone who's setting up in there are like people you've known since the 80s. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly.
Like, they would
don't
get
care.
out. Get out, Patty.
Oh no, you're seeing how the magic's working of setting up the lights. I don't care.
You're like, I've been here. I'm not here.
Done that. You know,
Is it in the same place every year?
No. No. This year it was at the Holiday Inn at Jansen Beach.
Right.
So it was right on the Columbia River. Lovely establishment, lovely people. It was all... But here's what happens. The coronation's already long. Because it's like everybody's doing their entrances, which are all boring. Everybody walks, gets their little pin. And if you've never been, I can't even describe it to you in a way that it'll make any kind of sense, but it's boring. It's even the people stepping in. So when I stepped down as Empress, I was bored.
Yeah.
Because it's 80 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of pump and circumstance.
Yes, it's a lot of pump and circumstance. That's really it.
It really is. Well, and then Nicole the Great, Queen Mother of the Americas, gets up. I mean, the show starts with this amazing dance troupe from Seattle. And I don't remember what they're called, but they're amazing. They're fabulous. It started off with a bang. Okay. They did this great dance number.
Yeah.
The second song they danced to is just called I'm Blackety Black.
Okay.
And it was phenomenal.
I love that.
You know, and it all came to a screeching halt when they were done because Nicole the Great gets up and does an hour worth of giving away awards that nobody asked for. And it's like, I don't need another plaque with my name written on it.
This is Patio Dora, you did a thing, girl.
And here you are for, I don't even know why, but you're getting this award. I mean, I didn't get any awards this year, which is great. But it just went on and on and on
Forever.
and on.
Yeah.
I have to share. Did I tell you what happened the night before, Nicole? So Nicole is the queen
She didn't know who you
mother
were.
of the Americas, which means she is like the queen of the court system, blah, blah, blah.
And there's a court system in like most major cities in the United States, in Canada, in Mexico.
Right.
So like it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Well, and I've known her since I was Empress, which was 32 years ago, 33 years ago. But the show we went to the night before, I had, as I mentioned, brought my family. And she comes up, puts her arm around my shoulder, and she's like, "Oh, you brought your family. That's so nice." And so I introduced her to my family. And she's like, "Oh, is this your grandma?" And I was like, "No, that's my mother."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, we're probably the same age." And I was like, "Well, how old are you?" And she said, 84. And I was like, "Yeah, you're exactly the same age."
Yeah.
And then she goes, "But I've had a lot of plastic surgery." Have you? Huh.
I
No idea.
would have never guessed.
What?
I thought she was allergic.
And she goes, "And who are you?" What?
Yeah.
Who am I?
Bitch, you've known me for 3.5 decades. Like, what are you talking about?
Not only do you know who I am, you don't like me.
You famously hated me.
So, whatever. But coronation, that was, I mean, it's like, start off with a bang and then immediately bring it down.
All right, old people, it's nap time.
We got out of there at 11.
Oh,
we got there at
girl.
5, got out at 11.
You got home, what, 11:30?
Got home 11:30.
You're not asleep until
12:30.
Ew,
Yeah,
girl.
I know.
Ugly.
It was just like, and so yesterday my ass was dragging all day long, and then to make it worse, I realized last night when I went to bed that instead of taking my morning pills yesterday, I accidentally took my night pills, which have melatonin in them.
You took melatonin?
I took melatonin in the morning.
And
oh,
then
girl.
function-
And then I had to
function.
function all day. And it was like, why do I feel so loopy all day long? I had no idea I was drunk.
That is so funny. That is, don't
But
do that.
I didn't even know until
dangerous.
literally I'm getting ready for bed and I go, where are my Monday pills? And why do I still have Monday morning? Oh no.
Oh no. That's great. I can't believe you're able to do that because I would be all, kids, you have to walk to school because I gotta lay down.
Can you go catch the train?
Yeah, no, girl, you know what I would be
There's
doing?
no train.
You know how, because you know what kind of parent I'd be. I'll be all, hello, school, my kids can't make it today. Bye. Like,
Mommy's sedated.
sorry, my kids are both very, very sick. Goodbye.
No,
Like,
I have a feeling you'd be like calling the Uber.
you can't put kids in Ubers.
You can't?
You can't, you're not supposed, I don't know if you used to not be able to put kids in Ubers and send them places.
Oh.
Because it's liability. You're putting your child in a car with a strange an adult.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, right?
Well, I mean, I did it once, but it was the driver I knew. It was my friend Viv, who's been here on the pod.
Yeah.
Her husband drives for Lyft.
Yeah.
And so I was like, could you just take my kids to this party? Because I'm at work. I don't remember where he was,
Listen,
but I was at work.
Different.
Right,
They were-
absolutely.
They were with Dylan and Viv. It's
But I was
different.
like, could you just run them across town? It's over by your house anyway, so.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
That's so funny. Yeah.
So here we are.
Yeah.
I lived through it.
You did, girl. You know, I did. So while you went to coronation, I stole your children and we went and bought pumpkins
Yes.
and got dessert. And we went home and we watched Halloween Town. And while we did that, we carved the pumpkins. And I want you to know, I love carving pumpkins. I feel like the last few times I've done it, the pumpkins have been cement, and so carving through it, I need a jackhammer. It was lovely. We got pumpkins from Safeway because we went to Safeway, and it was like no big deal, easy peasy. Grace and Parker cut them themselves.
Nice.
Because Grace is like, do I have to touch that? Like the goop inside. It's like
I saw she was wearing gloves in the picture.
girl. Every 5 minutes, while we're at Safeway, before we even got to Safeway, as we're leaving Safeway, when we got home, I need gloves. And I said, bitch, I heard you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even home yet. So we
don't have them in my purse.
Right. And I'm like, okay, let's wipe. Like, we took, what is it? Like, Clorox wipes and wiped the pumpkins. Because they're dirty, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
Straight from the farm. And so then I'm like, okay, here's Sharpies, draw faces on them. Well, Grace, right to it. Circle, 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 little nose, eyebrows. Fucking done. She's done. That is the beautiful face. And so I carved the top off for her and then make her start scooping. And she did it mostly fine. I got like the last little bits out. It was fine. But she carved the face herself. It was crazy. I was like, Grace, you're already done. Before Parker had cut the top off his, before he had gutted it, before he had drawn a face on it.
She's done.
Done. And watching Halloween Town. And Parker, it's so funny to me because he got a bigger orange pumpkin. Grace and I got white pumpkins, and he and Gavin got orange. And he cut the top of it, and then because we're watching Halloween Town, he can't do two things at one time.
Right.
He's watching and then looking down and scooping and then watching and not doing both at the same time.
Right.
So it's taking him forever just to clean out his pumpkin. And then he got to a point where he's like, I don't think I can get any more. So I helped him. And then he was like, well, let me look it up. I need to look up some faces I want to draw. Or what I want to put on it. And I said, okay, cool. So he finds one. He draws his face on it. And by this time, I'm done. Gavin's done. Grace is done. And Parker's like just getting into carving. And whatever, he did it. But his pumpkin and Gavin's pumpkin look very similar. Gavin's is just very like straight and lined.
Yes,
and
Gavin's
beautiful.
looks phenomenal.
Right. And Parker's just looks like his. It's so cute to me. But it was a lot of fun. They were super good about it. Going to bed too, because it was a school night.
Yeah.
Which was a little weird. But I was like, melatonin at 8. We're not going to read, we're not going to sing, but the TV's on. I set a little timer on the TV and said, when this goes off, go the fuck to sleep, you know? And I said, and I checked on them at 9:30, went out, both passed out. And I said, perfect. That's all I care about, you know?
Right. You've done your job.
Yeah, bedtime. Well, and then, of course, Annabelle who's been having her issues, 3 times before 5 in the morning, scratch at the back door to go out. And I'm like, girl, we do this once a month, maybe, where you have a bad night. What, 3 times in one night? So, yeah, so I was tired. So I'm really grateful we got coffee in the morning.
Yes.
And you need, I was going to say you needed it, but you drink
My decaf coffee.
Yeah. So.
It was so delicious.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had fun. We ate pizza, and it was cute. I'm really impressed.
Let's face it, I drink coffee flavored whipped cream.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah, it's chocolate mint whipped cream.
So it's fattening and has no caffeine.
Yum.
I know.
No,
I do at least put sugar-free syrup in it.
Okay.
So I save those 10 calories.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Yeah.
You know, that's so funny. I only really drank decaf in my life when I had mono. Because they tell you you're not supposed to drink caffeine.
Right?
Because you're going to feel fatigued like a motherfucker. But sleep. You know, don't drink coffee.
Don't try to ward off sleep because that's the only thing that's going to make you feel better is sleep.
Yeah. It rarely did that for me.
Oh, I know.
And then, like, at Starbucks, if I would already have too much coffee but I would pull, like, decaf.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I could still have the flavor and not the jitteriness. It was still dehydrating me. Girl, let's keep it very real.
I have to tell you that something you said to me the other day has just been living rent-free in my mind because it was so funny.
Okay.
We were talking about when you took Kitty Girl to the vet. And your vet fat-shamed her.
Yeah.
And you're like, nice, fat-shaming a woman. And I was like, a trans woman at that. And you're like, and a black trans woman.
Yeah.
All the hate. And I was like, oh, right, she is a black trans woman.
She is.
He fat-shamed her. Not okay.
Fucking bet. And I want you to know, because I've told this story before, and you already know, but when I got Kitty Girl, my friend Cece said, she, her, girl, right? And when kittens are little, you can't, and I'm not like looking at her junk trying to figure it out, because I was like, you told me. I believe you. We took Kitty Girl to the vet and found out Kitty Girl's a boy. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I call her Kitty Girl and call her she, her, and she knows all of that. So she is a girl. And I've said this to the vet, but every time I go in, it's always, how is he? How has he been? Look at him. He's so handsome. And I'm all, this is very triggering for me.
Her pronouns are she, her.
I know. So we came home and Kitty Girl cried the whole way there, screamed. And then
because she knew they were going to misgender her.
Fat shame her and misgender her. I know. And it's so funny because she would do like those howls, like distressed. Yes. And then she would see me looking at her and she would go, meow, like little baby, meow, meow. Mama, like, let me out. But in the vet's office, she didn't want any part of it. She stood in the corner, facing the corner of the wall, and was like,
I can't even look at you right now.
No.
What have you done to me?
Doors opening, doors closing. Even in the hallway, people talking. She was like, she sat under my chair facing the wall the entire time. I know.
Poor kitty girl.
But yeah, my poor girl, my trans black kitty girl.
I know.
She can't help it. But we have a safe house where she is loved and treated how she wants to be treated.
Yes.
Probably not. She wants to be treated better than we treat her because she's she wants to be a queen. You know what I mean? I already, like, pick her up to eat food. Like, here's your food. I carry her everywhere. Like, she's treated like royalty.
I would say she's pretty spoiled.
Yeah. Little bitch.
So, yesterday was a holiday, which I didn't realize because it was the artist formerly known as Columbus Day.
And now he's known as...
Now we call it... Now it's Indigenous Day for most places. But I saw this great video this morning where someone asked Indigenous folk to say what Columbus meant to them. Loved it. Because most of them said things like... Or they said, tell us one word that describes Christopher Columbus. And the first word was evil.
Yeah.
Evil. And somebody said, well, he was America's first terrorist.
Yeah.
Not one word, but right to the point. Rapist.
Yep.
Thief.
Yep.
Ignorant. Confused, and almost all of them said, fuck him.
Yeah.
Fuck Columbus.
Fuck you, Christopher Columbus.
Why he ever got his own holiday is beyond me.
Oh.
He discovered fucking nothing.
I can tell you why.
Well, I know why, actually, but go ahead.
Because, Italian Americans were not, much like the Irish, were not treated like white people, They weren't treated as normal, waspy English, They weren't treated that way. They were treated as marginalized people. And so once it started to change and they wanted to create, like, Italian solidarity, they chose an Italian person to create a holiday off of to be, like, be proud of your heritage. So they chose Christopher Columbus, which I think is fucking hysterical. Because, like, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything that he claimed, that everyone tells that he did. You couldn't have chose another Italian, like, not any other famous Italian, like a painter or a sculptor.
No, there aren't any. There are no famous Italians.
When I found out that's why we have Columbus Day, I was shook, girl.
Yeah.
I said, what?
I only learned that probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah, right. It's crazy to me.
It is crazy to me. And it's like, but why? Why that guy?
Well, and he wasn't, towards the end of his career, he was, like, exiled. He was brought back to Europe in chains from here, bitch, because he was doing things that they didn't.
Right.
He was doing the raping and the pillaging and the things, and they were like, what are you doing?
Right.
We didn't ask for that.
I'm sorry, you're selling young girls into slavery?
Yeah, you were supposed to go to India, and you didn't make it.
Well, which is why indigenous people here are called Indians, or were called Indians, because he was all, I'm in India. No, dumbass, you're not.
You're in a whole different place. And I want you to know...
You're not even on the right side of the world.
No,
country.
The country. India's on the other side of the country.
Right, India's over there.
But I wonder, geographically or, like, landscape-wise, does it even look the same?
No.
Right, it can't. I can't imagine that the country of India looks anything like Southeast United States.
No, it's a whole different climate.
That's right. So he's like, look, it's India, girl. Do you not see it? There's brown people wearing nothing. It's India.
We're obviously in India.
Yeah. They have beads. They probably have a spice. I don't know. It's India. Like, he didn't know.
Right. Ignorant. Ignorant.
Yeah. Awful, right? Horrific.
So,
yeah.
We, as we mentioned last week, and we're talking, it's Halloween time.
Yeah.
And so,
okay,
one of the things we want to talk about, a little Halloween candy.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, not a big candy eater.
Dish. Okay.
I don't really love candy.
Same.
I love dark chocolate.
Okay.
And I could eat it until it makes me sick, and I generally do.
Did you like it as a kid, too?
Not particularly.
No.
And I think it's because I didn't get it very much.
Okay.
Literally, as a child, I had candy Easter, Halloween,
Christmas.
Yep. And I was not the kid like my son or my husband who could make their Halloween candy last until Christmas.
That's weird.
I would be like, it's the day after Halloween and I ate a whole pillowcase full of candy.
Yeah, so I'm really... Oh, right, because, again, country people, we use pillowcases.
Right,
That you could fill that to the brim.
Right, and so I would have 40 pounds of candy.
Yeah.
And, I mean, honestly, it probably took me about a week to eat 6 months worth of candy. Mm-hmm. And I would feel sick because I ate too much crap. And it didn't even matter if I really loved it. I would still eat it because it was mine.
Oh, interesting.
And because we were poor, we didn't get treats like that.
Yeah.
But literally, Halloween, because my mother didn't have to buy it, Christmas, because it was in our stockings. Santa Claus brought it.
Yeah.
And Easter.
Yeah.
And, yeah. So I would always get, like, chocolate. And I would eat it, and I was always like, well, it's all right. I don't understand what the big deal is. Why does everybody like chocolate?
Right.
It wasn't until I was an adult and I had dark chocolate that I was all,
dark chocolate.
this is the tea.
Yeah, girl.
This is the thing. And I love dark chocolate. And so I'll buy those, like, Lindt.
Yeah.
The big... and it's like, serving is 1/3 of a bar. Okay, that's cute.
You're all,
so I still eat the whole giant candy bar, and then I'm sick.
Yeah.
But I still love it.
Well,
But I thought it would be funny or fun to look at what is listed as the best 10 and the worst 10 candies, and then kind of what we like.
Oh, yeah, because I have... My whole thing is a whole story. But yeah, let's do it.
All right. So here is... there's actually 2 bests, and they're very similar, and 1 worst, and there's a little crossover on the best and the worst.
Wow, okay. So start with the best.
Best. I'm going to start at 10 and work my way down to 1.
Love it.
Starburst.
They're fine. Okay.
Kit Kat.
Oh, my favorite.
Candy corn.
No.
That's the crossover. It's on both lists, best and worst.
Yeah.
Ugh,
but look, I can eat like 3 pieces of candy corn, and then I don't want any more. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, Halloween. Oh, that's enough
I don't
wax.
even want 1 piece. Yeah, it tastes like wax.
Yeah,
to me.
but
like sweet wax.
But girl, I also loved wax lips
Same.
that I would chew through. I also,
Same.
you know those little bottles? This is like the wax bottles add the liquid, and you bite the top of it. Love that shit.
And it had a little drop of liquid inside.
And those are like classic, like ancient candies.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
All right. Sour Patch Kids.
Fine.
Hershey's milk chocolate. Twizzlers. Nope.
Never. Once in my life.
Tootsie Pops.
They're fine.
M&M's.
Okay.
Peanut M&M's.
Okay.
And number 1, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Absolutely not.
Nope.
Once.
Those are on my top 10 hate list. I can't stand them. Here's the worst list. Number 10, Tootsie Rolls.
Wouldn't be my number. It wouldn't be on my worst list for me.
I just don't eat them. I don't like them.
Yeah.
Bit of honey.
No.
Black licorice.
Absolutely.
Have to disagree.
Fucking
Love
not.
black licorice. I know you hate it.
Burn.
Smarties.
I
kind of like Smarties.
I know. I was like, I kind of liked them as a kid.
Yeah. Mary Jane's. I'm like, what the fuck is a Mary Jane? I know that kind of Mary
Is
Jane.
it marijuana?
I'm like, that's not on anybody's candy list, though.
Yeah.
But they're made by the same people who make Necco wafers, and Necco wafers are garbage.
Garbage.
They're medicine. I mean, it's like they're not candy.
Take your Necco wafer. Yeah, I fucking hate them.
I'm sorry. They're you know what they're good for?
What?
They're good for, like, if you lose a piece to your checkerboard set, you use a Necco wafer.
Necco wafer.
Yeah, they're good for nothing else. Wax Coke bottles, which we were just talking about 2 seconds ago. I liked them.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's... I don't know.
I think it was the novelty.
Yeah, and you want to know what? I am the person who chews gum all the time. I like to be having that piece of wax, or almost every summer I'll go to a farmer's market and buy honey with a honeycomb in it.
Okay.
And I'll break off pieces of the honeycomb and chew it.
I've never done that.
It's yummy. It just tastes like fresh honey, but it's like waxy. It's kind of like gum. Yeah.
All right. Peanut butter kisses.
Gross.
And they're not made by
Hershey's
or whoever makes peanut butter cups.
I think Hershey's.
Yeah, Reese's. They're not made by Reese's. Necco wafers.
No, also gross.
Necco wafers, disgusting.
Yeah.
Candy corn,
No.
number 2. It's funny to me it's on the best list at number 9 and the worst list at number 2.
So funny.
And number 1, and I have to wholeheartedly agree, circus peanuts.
Oh. They are
Those,
gross.
first of all, shouldn't even exist.
No, they're like styrofoamy and soft and dry.
Now, when I was a kid, in my Easter basket, there would always be the candy that was like in, still in plastic bags, like the bunny, the chocolate bunny or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there would be the ones that were just loose in the basket, and there was always these big candy eggs that were probably about a third of the or 2/3 the size of a regular egg, a real egg, but they had a hard candy shell, and the inside just was like sugar.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Ugh.
Yeah, because they made smaller
Gross.
versions of it and bigger versions of it. But I think because I grew up in Carleton and it hadn't caught up with modern times yet, and a lot of it had to be like grandma was next door, I think that I was given a lot of the same things that y'all were given as children. And like, this is normal, even though, right, candy had, it was the 90s, bitch. Willy Wonka had exploded, honey. But like, they were like, eat these Smarties and your Coke bottle fucking wax things. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I loved it. Cool. I love that. And I agree mostly with that.
Yeah.
Um,
And so the other things on the other best list that weren't on the first one was Butterfingers,
Okay, yes.
Twix,
Yep.
Skittles,
Nope.
Hot Tamales.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're too much sugar for me. Even though I like the heat of them, I like the cinnamony,
Yeah.
whatever, and Snickers.
So I'll tell you right now.
And I don't like most commercial candy bars. I don't like. Oh, you can name pretty much any one.
I'll tell you what, I will eat the fuck out of any of them. Any of the little candy bars. A couple times a year. Because I love them.
Okay.
I don't love them.
Right.
But so for trick-or-treating for me as a kid, I have, I had sisters and cousins who were all the same age. So we'd all go.
Yes.
Right? And so when we came home, and it would always be like we'd sleep over on Halloween. Because again, we're all so close to the same age, we'd have to go to school anyway. Whatever, if we had school. But we trick or treat, and then we would like dump our candy out when we got home and go through it, right? And again, growing up in the country, it wasn't I gotta go through your candy, or I'm gonna keep your candy until tomorrow, or I'm gonna just give it to you in little bits, whatever. We could do what we wanted with it. So it turned very much into a barter system, because there's shit that I didn't want and shit that they loved, right? So you're talking about things that you ate as a kid that you'd get that you just didn't necessarily like. Those were the things I was giving to like Ashley, Brianna, and Michaela, and they were giving me something else.
Okay.
So
That's a good system.
yeah, girl, I was getting rid of like all Reese's. I was getting rid of like Twizzlers, anything that I didn't like jelly beans. I don't like a lot.
I still don't like jelly beans.
No, and like Starbursts are fine, but some people really like them. So I would trade those because my top girl were like Kit Kats. You have Kit Kats or you have gummy candy like worms. Will eat the fuck out of that.
How do you feel about Laffy Taffy?
No.
I don't care for it either.
Laffy Taffy to me is something that you have to like. You can't just start chewing it. It has to warm up. You know what I mean? You have to put it in your mouth.
Well, you have to like freeze it to get it out of the wrapper.
Yeah.
And then you have to let it sit for hours until it's soft enough to eat.
I don't think the flavor is bad necessarily. I just don't like to chew it forever.
No.
But yeah, there was very much that. It was very much bartering and trading because Kit Kat's, again, number one candy. But I just really loved going in trick-or-treating and getting an assortment of different candies. Because, in the store, when I was a kid, we could go and like pick out a candy bar. And in Carlton, candy bars were like 50 cents.
Yeah.
Not bad. When I was a kid, that's fine. But you could pick one thing. So I'd always be like, okay, what am I going to get? And it would always be like a candy bar. Usually it'd be a Kit Kat. If not, it'd be a Carmelo. Did you ever have Carmelos?
Uh-huh.
Oh, delightful. Or like Milky Way. And they made a dark chocolate Milky Way that I would eat. Yummy.
Okay.
But I liked Halloween or Easter or Christmas because you got an assortment, different types of candy without needing to buy different types of candy.
Makes
right?
sense. Sure.
So I liked all of getting little bites of a Snickers or little bites of a Butterfinger, but I didn't want a whole one.
Right.
So that's why I loved it, because it was like getting a box of chocolate. You could try a bunch of fucking shit, and you didn't have to commit to anything.
So I'm going to throw out a couple things that were around when I was a kid that I don't even think exist anymore.
Okay.
There was a candy bar called a Big Hunk.
It sounds familiar. What was it?
If I remember correctly, and I might be mixing up my candy bars, because again, I didn't get candy very often.
Yeah.
It was this white bar that was normal, like flat. It was like the size of a Hershey bar. Mm-hmm. But it was this white kind of
nuggety.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it had nuts in it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it was weird. There was also the Charleston Chew.
Oh my god, okay. Yes.
Chico Sticks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And what was the other one of the
Chico Sticks.
Chico Sticks. And Chico Sticks I liked.
Me too.
Those were fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like some of those candy bars, I'm like, I don't even think they exist anymore.
I don't know if they still do, but when I was a kid, Chico Sticks were a thing, Charleston Chew, and a Big Hunk sounds familiar. That texture and that color, that sounds familiar, but I don't like that. Nougat is fine if it's a little bit, but I don't want a whole thing of it.
No. And I also never liked toffee.
Toffee. I don't really like
I don't like toffee flavored. I don't like almond roca.
Oh.
I don't like anything that has that, like, toffee center.
Okay. Again, with those, there's things like that I want like one. But again, my sweet tooth, if I'm going to have something sweet, I want it to be a baked good. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I want it to be a Danish or a donut or a pastry or a pie. I don't want candy. I don't want chocolate. But since we're talking about it, yeah. I like that shit. I also really liked Charleston Chews. And they had different flavors when I was a kid.
Yes.
Because they had a strawberry one and a vanilla one. I think a chocolate one.
Uh-huh.
But I remember freezing them and they'd be hard, and you could break it out.
I was saying, did you freeze them and then shatter them?
Yeah, and break it in little pieces, and then you could eat it that way, opposed to like this huge, long, taffy kind of like.
Yeah. All right, so and then I made my own short little list of my favorite things, and I know you will
disagree
wholeheartedly with at least one of them. So my favorite candy bar ever in life is a Payday.
Okay.
It's just good. Caramel and nuts. For
Delightful.
Yeah. Any dark chocolate, really, as long as it's not the really, really like the 90%, because then they're just bitter.
Yeah.
Black licorice.
Boo!
I know.
Boo! Hiss.
And anything caramel.
Okay.
Love caramel.
You know, caramel for me is hit or miss. Sometimes caramel is gross to me because it doesn't taste like actual caramel.
Well, it has to be good caramel.
It has to be like caramel. Yeah. I think always and forever, because my favorite candy always and will be a Kit Kat. It always has been.
Okay.
Kit Kat and Twix were probably my favorite candy bars. But yeah, I loved gummy candy, gummy worms, gummy bears, any of that. Peach rings, anything that's a gummy, chewy candy that's like usually fruit-based. Girl, I eat the fuck out of it. But there are things that I love specifically on Halloween. Wax lips. Mm-hmm. Those little bottles that you can bite and drink the thing out of it. What else? I don't even know. I can't even think. But there are like specific things for Halloween that I'm
going to say the last time I had wax lips is when we took that picture.
Girl, wasn't even Halloween. We went to some cute little kitschy store and bought some.
Yep.
That was fun.
We took a great picture. It looked like we had way too much collagen injected into our
That was so long ago.
That was a long time ago.
That was like 15 years ago or something.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. All right, so now, look, we actually have time. We have 25 minutes to talk about our actual topic today.
Oh, my God. Okay, so, you know, because since we do this weekly, more often than not, it's you being like, let's talk about this. And I'm like, cool. And some days I show up and we haven't discussed it at all, so we're all winging it. But yesterday you said, let's talk about some things. And one of the things were different theories. And specifically, you said chaos theory and destiny theory. And those are really great theories. But I found some other theories that are super loud. But just so we know, so chaos theory, hold on, what is it? So let's take weather, for example, okay, because this is a chaos theory thing. So you can predict weather patterns when it's in the near future. But the closer it gets to that prediction, there are so many other factors that influence the weather.
Yeah.
Right? So then your prediction, it becomes practically impossible to actually predict. So that's chaos theory, technically. That's just an example. So it's you, and it can be applied to, again, weather or population cycles. This is how I think this is going. That's why people panicking about, we're not replenishing the population. Mm-hmm. Like, well, you don't know. There's probably, the generation below me is probably going to have 15 children a relationship. You know what I mean? So they'll replenish the population for all of us. It'll be fine. But there are things like overarching things that are systematic, weather, population, that people analyze, but it changes dramatically. That's troubling. But it's also really hard to gauge. You know what I mean? Okay, and so the other one you want to talk about was destiny theory. And this I really like, and this is what made me look up other theories, because this is like you see things in your life as consequential. So like every choice you make creates a different kind of like timeline, right? So whether you get paper or plastic, whether you get coffee or tea, whether you decide to go to school or not or whatever, every decision you make creates a new, what they call a new reality or a new... we're just going to go with reality. But it splits because it's very much sliding doors.
Yes.
It is very much like...
That was such a good movie.
Gwyneth Paltrow gets on the train or she doesn't get on the train and how her life is different after that. It just takes it... It's much more micro, though, because it takes every decision you make. Not just like, I missed a train one time.
Right.
Which there could be some minor fucking thing that could have changed the rest of your life. Like, what if you hadn't worked that show that one night where you met your husband?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, like...
And that's the kind of thing I think is... Because every once in a while, I'll have the notion of, if I could go back in time to change, blah, 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 which of course you can't, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, sometimes that's where my brain will wander off to.
Yeah.
And, which I may be normal, maybe not. Mm-hmm. But then I think, before I get too far into that, it's like, but if I did that...
How would it change everything?
How would it change everything else? Like, would I have met my husband? Mm-hmm. Would I have my children?
Yeah.
Would I be where I am today? Would I have the life that I have? good, bad, and indifferent. Because the life I have right now, though it's not without its flaws and its, troublesome bits, it's the life that I'm glad I want this life. This is the life I wanted. And so, I always think if I had changed anything along the way,
Yeah. If you had changed anything. Isn't that crazy? Because you could have changed something years before you even met your husband.
Yeah.
And it still could have moved you to a different state. You know what I mean? Been with a different person. Whatever. We could have died at any of these points. You know what I mean? So to think that things are so random and your life can change with the drop of a hat. And you will, and here's the thing though. You as a person, you don't have like precognition. You're not going to see that I make this decision. It's going to alter the rest of my life.
Right.
Good, bad, or otherwise. Because you won't know what your life could have been, right? So past you doesn't know this today you.
Right,
So they don't know that you have a husband or children or that you have this house or whatever. They didn't. So past you was just trying to get to the future, but future you is already like, make the right decisions, right? Like, This is what you want, stupid bitch. Yeah, I get that.
Well, and so if you are one of the people who believes that everything is kind of preordained, that everything happens for a reason, then it makes it even more so that you think, oh God, had I just done this? And what's funny for me, and this is very inconsequential, but I remember this one thing that made me go, and this is what happens when you don't follow the plan, is when I was a teenager. So I know I've talked about this before, that we went to church 400 times a week. It was just stupid how much church we went to. But we went morning service, evening service on Sunday, and then Wednesday Bible study every week. And then VBS in the summer, and summer camp, and blah. Well,
Jesus Christ.
The one Sunday where I was like, I can't do it, I don't feel good, so I had, I'm sure, some mystery virus.
You were super sick.
I was super sick. I had a mystery virus, I couldn't go to church. And amazingly enough, I was allowed to stay home.
Oh, okay.
Right?
She's like, Jesus will heal you, let's go.
Right. That was the week that all hell broke loose at the church.
Really?
That the pastor did his Jimmy Swaggart weeping I've sinned nonsense and confessed his sin to the church and stepped down as pastor. I mean, it was a big doing.
What the fuck?
And I missed the whole thing because I was sick.
Because you didn't want to.
Because I didn't want to. I didn't want to go that week. And I was like, damn it!
Yeah.
I missed all the good stuff because you know me, I love a good scandal. I love gossip.
Yes, girl.
And it was good.
What was his gossip?
Oh, well, and it was like, he was fucked up. He was counseling this young man who had come to him because he was upset because of his homosexual urges.
Right.
So instead of being, good counselor, he had an affair with him.
Oh my God, this young man.
Yeah, so this married minister whose wife was the head of the choir and his children were the whole thing does this. Well, the only reason he then stepped down from his position is because that family caught wind of it and they were like, oh no, we're going to blow this wide open.
Yeah.
And so he kind of had to.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I missed the whole thing. Yeah.
And that kind of scandal?
Wait,
was the boy, was he young? Like a minor?
No.
Okay.
Fortunately, he was not. He was, I think, 18.
Okay.
So he was just barely.
But still
adult.
creepy crawly, because I'm sure that pastor has known him since he was...
You go to someone for counseling, and they take advantage.
Exploitation.
Bad.
But also, I'm sure that 18-year-old boy had been going to that church for how long? How long has he known that pastor?
Years.
Ew. That's
because
vile.
His brother dated the pastor's daughter.
Nope. That's vile to me.
Yeah.
Because that is...
But that's what I'm saying. I missed all this juicy, nasty gossip.
I just need to give a PSA. Okay? And here's my PSA. My PSA. I'm a PSA. If you are an adult and you know somebody from the time that they are young, even a teenager, and then they become an adult and then you try to get with them, it's gross to me.
Yeah.
I think if you know a kid and then you try and get with that kid when they're an adult, it's still fucking gross. Like, it's close. It's maybe you didn't groom them, but you had thoughts of it. You know what I mean? Like, it weirds me out. And to have been like, in the center of weird men's seduction.
Yes.
I get it. But also, ew. Like, don't. That's so gross to me. It's weird. It's fucking weird.
It is fucking weird. And because to me, when I see grown-ups that I've known since they were children, there's always that part of my brain that sees them
as children,
as that child.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if they're 30 years old now, I still am like, well, yeah, you're 30, but I still remember you as a cute little baby. You know?
Yeah.
It's like my daughter saying to me this morning, God, I hate it that you took all these pictures of me as a kid. Why did you take baby pictures of me? It's like, because everyone does.
Also, shut the hell up.
I know. And I was like, because that's who you are. Yeah. You'll always be my baby. Yeah. So I see you in all of those stages of life. And so for everybody, if I've known you since you were little, I will always still see that part of you. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Ugh.
Gross, right?
Anyway.
Okay, so there is a paradox that I've talked about before, and it's a little deviation from what we're talking about. It's a theory. But it is has to do with, like, extraterrestrial life, right?
Okay. It's
really fascinating to me. So it's called the Fermi paradox because it was an Italian-American physicist named Enrico Fermi. There's a discrepancy between the lack of evidence of, like, advanced alien life and the high likelihood of their existence. So it's equating, like, oh, well, we don't have evidence, so they don't exist. But lack of evidence is just that, a lack of evidence, right? It doesn't mean that something else isn't real. And you can apply that to religion, right? Like, we don't have evidence of God's existence, right? But we also don't have evidence that he doesn't exist. Do you know what I mean? So,
fair,
like,
yes.
So for us to say he doesn't, it's also just very pompous. To say he does is also very pompous, right? So, like, to say that you know anything. My point is, this is saying, like, you know, there's no evidence that there are aliens, right? But based on our solar system and beyond that, galaxies, intergalactic travel, there should be, right? And there are things that Enrico Fermi talks about, and this was talked about in 1950. He was with other physicists in New York on a lunch. And they were talking about UFOs because there was a sighting in 1950, obviously. And so they were talking about it in faster than light travel and whatever.
Okay.
And the conversation, and this is paraphrasing, but Enrico Fermi said, but where is everybody? If we're talking about, like, faster than light travel in other civilizations, where is everybody? Why haven't we heard anything? Why haven't we seen anybody? So there have been attempts to resolve this paradox, like, in suggesting that intelligent alien life is rare, right? Or that civilizations are short, so they can't get to a point of, like, Star Trek.
Okay.
Right? So we die out, like, now, and then we can never get more futuristic. Like, all of the sci-fi we've ever read, we can never get to that point.
Okay.
Or that aliens exist, and for whatever reasons, we don't see evidence of it, okay? And there's a chain of reasoning. So, you know how there's, like, the universe, and then there's galaxies, and in each galaxy there are solar systems. So break it down, bitch. That's we're nothing in comparison to the whole universe, right? So in the Milky Way galaxy, there are billions of stars that are similar to the sun. Okay?
Okay.
So that would go on to make it think that there's a high probability that some of these stars have Earth-like planets that orbit them. Okay? Like, that's not unreasonable to think, right?
No.
So some of these stars and their planets would be much older than our sun, right? If they already exist, or if there are billions of them, some of them are older, some of them are younger. Again, makes sense. And so that means if there are sun-like stars older than our sun, then there are planets that are Earth-like that are older than Earth. Okay?
Okay.
Still following me?
I'm still following you.
So it's not also impossible to think that these civilizations have developed, like, more interstellar kind of, like, traveling in space or figuring out how to do things in space. Then that's just what humans are investigating currently. We're figuring out how do we get further in space, how we do more in space.
Right.
Remember? And I was just on a research project last year where we talked about more space travel.
Yes. Well, and if you think about how long they've been working on space travel.
Yeah.
And as far as they've been able to get a human to travel, it's not very far.
No, it's nothing.
And it's been going on for a very long time. It's been going on since the 50s. Mm-hmm. And it's,
crazy, right?
73 years has been going on, and they still can't get people very far out into space. Mm-mm. So the idea that you could travel to an entirely different universe is like
mind-boggling, right?
Yeah.
But this says, like, even at a slow pace of, like, what interstellar travel is now, you could make it across the Milky Way in a couple million years. Okay. So from one end to the other, I'm just going to spend a couple million years traveling. Okay.
Okay.
So it's basically just saying that these sun-like stars and their planets that could have life on them could already have existed, right? And they should have or already have been visited by extraterrestrial or other civilizations, or at least their probes. We should have been. Like, where is the evidence?
Yeah.
Like, why haven't we? But there's no convincing evidence that this has ever happened. So it is a really it's a paradox, because it's like they should exist. There's a probability that more life should exist, but we don't see anything from anywhere.
Yeah.
So, like, how is that possible, though, and why? And there are reasons. Like, one, civilizations can't make it to that age, so they can't get that old to be able to send signals or ships. Two, it's very much like the Star Trek idea that, you know, the reason that alien or what are they called? Vulcans?
The Vulcans?
Came to Earth was because humans, after their big old war and whatever, they developed, like, light speed, right? They were able to travel. That's the only reason Vulcans came. So there's the idea that there are extraterrestrials, but they won't come to Earth because we're not technologically advanced enough.
Right.
And so it is interesting to think about, you know, or if there are alien civilizations that are gajillions of years old, do you not think that they have, like, the technology now to be like, oh, they're trying to probe us, you know what I mean? They're trying to, like, signal us, we're going to hide, right?
Right.
And so it kind of boggles my mind, because it is the whole argument, do aliens exist? And recently, within the last year, the U.S. government has said they do exist. But that makes me think,
what's crazy to me is they've denied forever. We have no idea. We've never seen it. We don't have. There's no
What's
Area
an alien?
54, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
All the things. There was no real alien autopsy. None of that shit's real. And now they're saying, well...
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said last week, the president of Mexico was like, well, we have this alien corpse. And I saw the pictures of it. And sure, it could be, I guess.
Yeah.
Could be anything, though.
Yeah.
It could be plastic. It
Right.
could be, you know... And they're like, well, but the DNA is not human. Okay, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's an alien.
An alien, right. Well, and so that's the thing, right? Why are governments going to deny for decades, and then all of a sudden, okay, aliens exist? And I know there have been, like, anomalies that have shown up in the past few years that people are like, what was that? What were those lights over fucking Prescott or whatever? But, and, you know, there was, like, a part of the Air Force who saw this little orb fly next to him and then take off.
Yeah.
This wasn't that long ago. But, like, why now? Are you now just saying, yeah, okay, it's true? You know what I mean? What has changed? That's what I want to know.
Right.
Like, what has changed?
Right.
So
what exactly... What is happening now that you're like, okay, we no longer can have plausible deniability. Because if we keep saying, no, it's not true, no, it's not true, no, it's not true, and then something actually happens, and they're like, you fucking knew this all along.
Yeah.
And we could have been at least somewhat prepared for this.
Yeah.
So I think, and I don't know if maybe there is anything, it doesn't matter. Yeah. I think what it is that they've decided that, well, you know, maybe to cover our own asses, we should be like,
release it.
It could be.
Yeah.
There might be stuff. And then I think if there is anything, or if there's stuff that they think might be, that they'll be like, well, we did find this thing.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is.
Sure.
It could...
See,
who knows?
I think you're giving the government too much credit, because I feel like, because it feels like to me that they're like, oh my god, you guys, extraterrestrials, aliens, spacecrafts, blah, all this is true. And do you know how the American population reacted? Okay. They were like, and are the aliens going to come pay half my rent? Cool. I don't care. There's fucking aliens, right? Are they going to give me health care? I don't care then, right? Like, the American population was not phased in the way that I think, because to me,
who trusts the government anymore?
And that's what I'm saying. So, what thing are they trying to hide with being like aliens?
Well, and that's right. Right. Oh, do you think that it's the whole look over here?
Kind of.
Okay.
Right? Because why would you deny it for so many since the 50s at least, right? But even McMinnville, They have that whole UFO, whatever it is.
Which I didn't even know until recently, but yes.
But the picture that, the reason that they have a UFO festival in McMinnville is because there's a picture that can't be debunked before McMinnville was a thing of a farmer. Yeah, and that was like, 1930 something. That was 100 fucking million years ago. And so the fact is, why are we in this place now where it's like acceptable? But since truly like the 50s. So for 70 plus years, they've been like, no. What? What's that alien?
That's nonsense.
What's that alien? Right? Yeah. It's weird to me. But I mean, I hope, girl. But I feel like if aliens are real, girl, they're flying past the earth and like locking their doors, being like, no, this is the bad neighborhood. Right. You know what I mean?
I'm not going there.
Yeah, you can go anywhere else you want in the galaxy, but don't you dare go to Earth. Yeah.
I remember on an episode, and I can't remember if it was the Twilight Zone or the Outer Limits. It was one of those shows where they'd come across, this alien had landed on Earth, and they had this book that they translated as How to Serve Human.
Oh.
And so they were like, oh my gosh, they come here to serve humans. And it was like, when they properly translated it, it was like a cookbook. It was how to serve a human.
Yeah.
It was like, problem.
I love that.
Whoopsie.
That's so funny to me.
They just came here to get fresh meat.
Yeah.
So it also makes me curious, though, as to why, with the alien theories that everybody's had, why people are always getting kidnapped and then probed anally.
I know. Why
up your ass?
Look, I just think that you're all gay. Do you know what I mean? If you want to have anal sex, then go have anal sex.
Right.
But you don't need to
have to be an alien with a probe.
Yeah, it's not like some exotic expression of sexuality, you weirdo. You don't need some alien to be like...
So you and the neighborhood cows taking the aliens. It's like, what?
I know.
It's all weird to me.
It's just interesting how things develop, right? Like, and this is kind of off topic, but... Like, for example, George Washington, when he was alive, no bones of dinosaurs had been uncovered, excavated. So he didn't know that dinosaurs ever existed. That wasn't a part of, like, normal thought or education.
That's
true,
I suppose.
That weird, though? Like, thinking about it boggles my mind. So things change, and people come up with more information and whatever, and that's great, and that's why I love science. But, like... I don't know. I think just keep an open mind. I think that about everything. But, I think it's arrogant to think that aliens don't exist. I think it's arrogant to think that us, this planet, is the only...
We're it.
We're it. Have you met humans? There's also this...
But I've always thought that my whole life. I've always thought, are you really that arrogant... Right. That you're going to go, no, we're it.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the only intelligent life. Mm-hmm. And the fact that humans believe that they are the only intelligent life on this planet.
Insane.
It's like, I'm sorry, but there's a lot of intelligent life, though it doesn't, for whatever reason.
We just don't classify it.
Yeah, we don't classify it that way because it's like, well, those are animals.
Yeah, it's not
animals.
Human. Right.
Who's the dumb animal?
Bitch.
Because really... Most animals do not destroy their own habitat.
That's what I'm getting to. That's there's another thought. Is that civilizations can't exist because people like humans, or when civilizations get there, they self-destruct, right? So human, like where we are now, how many major nations have like nukes? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
If Russia shot us with a nuke, guess what? We'd be shooting right back, and then guess what? The world would die.
Yeah.
And so human beings have this like natural thing to destroy ourselves, which is silly. You don't think about self-preservation. Right. But we get to a point where we'll destroy everybody else, which in turn will destroy us.
Well, Parker just this morning was talking about, he said the wrong country, but he said, China just let off missiles just recently. And I go, what? And so of course I look it up, and it was North Korea. But the U.S. had done some tests, whatever, and flew... fighter jets over North Korea. So they were like, oh, really, bitch? Mm-hmm. And they flew 2 missiles that went into the ocean. But whatever, it's like, so you're going to have a pissing contest with nuclear weapons. Yeah. How fucking stupid are you?
Yeah, because...
And it's like, the fact that there's enough nuclear weapons in the world that they can blow up the world multiple times. Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, and that's the thing, too.
We should be trying, like you said, to be more focused on preservation than destruction,
right.
but we're a destructive race.
Right, because in human beings for so long, we've, like, again, compartmentalized. We've put people in categories, and it really, really just creates a division. It creates us versus them in everything. In race, and gender, and sexuality, and socioeconomic status, and nationality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone is in like a tug of war against us versus them. And for some reason, people don't understand that if you bomb another nation, they'll bomb you.
Yeah.
Why is that so hard to fucking understand? And it will kill all of us.
Right.
Like, I just don't understand why that's even a threat. And now there are so many nukes on the planet. Like, how do you get rid of them? How do you get rid of,
there is no way.
like, nuclear material?
You can't.
Take it to
That's
space?
exactly it.
You know what I mean?
Well, right.
And then what? And then it blows up in fucking space? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of effect would that have?
Right, exactly.
So, like, it's just so crazy that we created something that could destroy humanity. And we're like, well, I'll shoot it if you shoot it. Like, grow the fuck up. This is why men shouldn't run shit, bitch. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, because everything turns into a pissing match.
Every single one. Yep.
And it's like, well, my nukes are bigger than your nukes. And it's like, yeah, put your dick back in your pants.
Honestly, nobody cares. And, like, people like Putin, who is such, like, a machismo fucking manly man, no sensitivity. Like, he'll just kill himself killing the world because he's such a man. Right. He'll prove to you he's a man.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, crazy. Anyway, that was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And that took us to the end of our time.
I loved it. I had a great time.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
To all our company.
To all of our company. All the people who came today to watch us film live in our studio.
Yeah.
Yes, because this one, we're going to have a visual aspect because we look so beautiful today. Because Annika came over today in full makeup and gown and crown.
Let's talk about it.
And me, I am wearing my Dior vest.
Yeah. As I'm wearing wool socks and Pokemon pajama pants and my boyfriend's giant hoodie.
Yes.
Not a stitch of makeup and my hair in a bun. You're right. You know what I look like?
And my hair is fresh bedhead.
You know what? Your hair, it's deflated.
It is so deflated.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Oh my God.
I don't like seeing you without your hair bumped to Jesus. That's weird.
But we're on episode 90.
What the fuck?
Which means in 10 short episodes, we're going to be at episode 100. So I was thinking, I would like to hear from y'all.
Yeah.
So tell us what you think that we should talk about for episode 100. If we should do a little best of and talk about all things, or we should talk about something totally new and different, or what?
Oh my God, that's cute.
What do you think?
Best of our podcast.
Best
so
of,
funny.
right?
Yeah, please message me and tell me.
Yeah, message us at itwouldseemasthough@gmail.com. And you can find us on the socials, because I'm on the Book of the Faces and on Instagram.
Yeah.
And
you can't find me anywhere.
And no, there's no Annika Diaz.
Oh my God.
Any
full name? I know
I did full name.
Well, and Diaz
I didn't quite full name you because I didn't say your middle name.
Okay, but here's the thing. Diaz is like Smith of Mexican people.
Yes.
But Annika is not, so...
No, because Annika is... what is the...
All right, before we go.
Yeah.
I want you to know that the name Annika is just worldwide. Because Scandinavian. It's also Russian. Also, when I worked at Starbucks, there was an Indian couple that came in and they said... When I transferred stores, they followed me and they said, well, with a name like Annika, we have to check on our Indian sisters, like East Indian. And I said, Annika is also Anita in Hawaiian. Like, Annika is just a name that is literally and I didn't realize, because I only realized that it was Scandinavian. But no, girl, it's around and it's in Japanese.
And it's a character in Pippi Longstocking.
It is. So, Annika, I took the tall white girl version, but, it is clearly multicultural. Who knew?
I, however, am just named after a goddess.
The goddess of hearth and home.
Yeah.
But the Roman version.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
But you want to talk about, people destroying themselves. The Roman Empire was the most powerful empire on the planet, and it, of course, self-destructed. It imploded.
And here's one last note. Civilizations, every single one of them has fallen.
Everyone. All of them. So we're due.
We're due, girl, because we've been way past what was expected. So we'll see.
We'll see.
Learn how to garden.
Right. And then, we'll be back next week to talk about God knows what.
We'll see.
So, enjoy fall, enjoy the crisp, cold weather, enjoy the rain, enjoy all the things.
Do it.
And we'll talk to you next week.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
It was Bye.